Hello everyone, we will start with the first part of video on past year NEET questions from the topic D and F block elements. Now this chapter is considered to be a pretty straightforward chapter in terms of the kind of questions we will get. So mostly we will have the memory based questions, just like most of the inorganic chemistry segment. Here also we will have mostly the memory based questions, and even unlike the P block we have scope for synthesis questions, etc. But here there is very little scope for the synthesis. Mostly we will have memory based questions. Let's start with the question that has come in the NEET 2019 Odisha paper. Match the catalyst with the process. So if you see, they are giving us 4 catalysts: V2O5, TiCl4, AlCH3 thrice, PdCl2, palladium 2 chloride, and nickel complexes. We have to match them against the respective process. Now when we have these matching kind of questions, right, there will be some opportunity for us to get the correct answer even if we are not able to match all the options, because if we are able to at least get to match some of these options, right, then maybe we will be able to eliminate what are the options that are incorrect. So I will explain this by taking this particular problem itself. So first we will start with V2O5. So V2O5, at least some of these we should be aware of, then only we will be able to get correct answer for these match kind of questions. V2O5 is a very popular catalyst that is used in the contact process. So where is it used? In the contact process for the manufacture of sulfuric acid. So the SO2 is oxidized to SO3 in the presence of V2O5 as catalyst, and finally we will be able to manufacture H2SO4 from that. Means option the catalyst 1 is matched to R. R is what? Oxidation of SO2 in the manufacture of H2SO4. So if you look at these matching options, right, where is one matching to R? It is there in option A, one is matching to R. It is there in option D, one is matching to R. Option B and C are inappropriate, incorrect, because option B and C, what they are saying, one is matching to P. Option C is also saying what? One is matching to P. So straight away we are able to cancel 2 of these options, and now our correct answer is in between A and D. Then TiCl4, AlCH3 thrice. This is another very popular catalyst which we call as Ziegler-Natta catalyst. So what is this Ziegler-Natta catalyst? If we have titanium tetrachloride and trialkyl aluminum, whether it is a trimethyl aluminum or triethyl aluminum or trialkyl, generally what we can say AlR3, trialkyl aluminum. This will form Ziegler-Natta catalyst, where we will have the titanium having some vacant valency. And here what we see is that Ziegler-Natta catalyst is used in the polymerization of ethene. Ethene can be also called as what? Ethylene. It is used in the polymerization of ethene to form polythene. So the second one should be matching to what? The polymerization of ethylene. So second should be matched to S. So if you see between option A and option D, second is matching to S only in option A. Option D, second is matching to P, means this is also incorrect. So straight away we are able to have the correct option. What is it? Option A. But still, we will carry on with the problem, because it might so happen that in some other question, right, we may not be able to recall. It is not possible for everybody to recall everything. So if you are able to recall all the catalyst and their respective process, means nothing like it. Look at this. The third is what? PdCl2, palladium 2 chloride. Now palladium 2 chloride is used in the oxidation of ethylene, or rather ethylene is also called as what? Ethene. So oxidation of ethylene to aldehyde, esteraldehyde or ethanol. This process is what is called as Wacker process. So what is Wacker process? It is the oxidation of ethylene into acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde, what is the IUPAC name? Ethanol. And this occurs in the presence of palladium 2 chloride. So 3 should be matching to P. So we can see in option A, right? 3 is again matching to what? Already we have pointed out what is the correct answer. 3 is matching to P. Then nickel complexes. See, nickel complexes, right? Some of the nickel complexes like NiCN twice, they are used in the polymerization of acetylene. Acetylene, where normally what we know is if you pass acetylene over a red hot iron, right, we will be able to produce what? Benzene. Okay, so this is also an example of polymerization. We are able to form the polymer with three molecules of acetylene. So 4 molecules of acetylene, right, will be able to form a 8-membered carbon ring. They will be able to form so because 3 will be forming 6-membered carbon ring, 4 will be forming 8-membered carbon ring, and that can happen in the presence of nickel complex. Similarly, some of the other nickel complexes, right, they can even facilitate the polymerization of diphenylacetylene and phenylacetylene, etc. So the nickel complexes are used in facilitating the polymerization of alkynes. Means 4 is matched to what? Q. So we'll see that the correct answer is what? Option A. So in these matching kind of questions, if you are able to clearly at least get couple of the matching correct, then there will be some chances that we may be able to arrive at the correct option. Next, we'll look at another question that has come in the NEET 2019 paper Odisha. When neutral or faintly alkaline KMNO4 is treated with potassium iodide, means KMNO4 and Ka reaction, but what is the medium? Neutral or faintly alkaline medium, because we'll have a different behavior in the acidic medium. So acidic medium means we'll have a different reaction. The iodide ions are converted to X. The question is, what is X? So if you look at what is the reaction between the permanganate ion, what is MnO4 minus? Means it is the permanganate ion. What is the reaction between permanganate ions and I minus ions? The I minus will be oxidized to IO3 minus, because in I minus the oxidation state of iodine is what? -1. In IO3 minus the oxidation state of iodine will be what? +5. So it is undergoing what? Oxidation. The I minus is undergoing oxidation, and this happens in the neutral or faintly alkaline medium. On the other hand, so the correct answer for this is what? IO3 minus. On the other hand, if you have acidic medium, right, the I minus will be oxidized to molecular iodine. Means from -1 stage, molecular iodine means what? The oxidation state is what? 0. So here also it is undergoing what? Oxidation, but from I minus to I2. So that is the difference between the reaction in neutral or faintly alkaline medium to the reaction in case of the acidic medium. So again, if you look at the past year questions, right, we will see that quite often we will get questions on KMNO4 and K2Cr2O7 reactions. Especially we will have questions coming on both the KMNO4 and K2Cr2O7 reactions. So we must go through these reactions thoroughly so that any straight question like this, right, we will not be able to miss out. Next, we have a question that has come in the NEET 2018. Which one of the following ions exhibits D to D transition and paramagnetism as well? Means when the D to D transition happens, it is basically the transition between the d orbitals. So when you have some of the d orbitals having electrons and some of them vacant, then the D to D transition can happen. So here it's a straight question. What we are supposed to do is, in these ions, we look at the respective atoms, respective D block atoms or ion, and see which of them is having unpaired electrons in the d orbitals. Unpaired electron means what? Paramagnetism will come, and electrons are there means we can see that D to D transition is going to happen. So here we have to look at which of them will exhibit both the D to D transitions as well as the paramagnetism. So if you look at these ions given to us, right, CrO4 2 minus, What is the chromium oxidation state here? Plus 6. What is the chromium normal electronic arrangement? 3d5 4s1. It is the abnormal electronic configuration. Okay, chromium, what is the configuration? 3d5 4s1. If 6 electrons are removed, then all the 5 electrons from 3d will be removed and 1 electron from 4s also removed. Means the number of electrons remaining is what? 0. The number of unpaired electrons is what? 0. Which means it is going to be diamagnetic or not paramagnetic. Similarly, in Cr2O7 2-, right, there also what is the oxidation state of chromium? Plus 6. In Cr2O7 2- also, what is the oxidation state of chromium? Plus 6. Means all the 5d electrons are removed and the 1 4s electron is removed. The number of unpaired electrons is what? 0. The inner orbitals are already completely filled. The inner orbitals are already completely filled, right? There will be no unpaired electrons in that. Means this is also diamagnetic. In MnO4-, what is MnO4-? This is permanganate ion. MnO4- is what? Permanganate ion. What is the oxidation state of manganese? It is plus 7. Means what is the manganese normal electronic arrangement? 3d5 4s2. This is manganese. If you have Mn plus 7 means what? All the 5d electrons are removed and the 2 4s electrons are also removed. Means the number of unpaired electrons is what? 0. Again, this is also what? Diamagnetic. But whereas if you have MnO4 2-, this is what? This is manganate ion. MnO4 2- is what? Manganate ion. In this, manganese oxidation state will be what? Plus 6. How? We can check it by using the sum rule. X plus 4 into minus 2 is equal to minus 2. So x minus 8 is equal to minus 2. X is equal to what? 8 minus 2, which is 6. So 6 means 6 electrons have to be removed. Means 2 electrons from here will go and 4 electrons from here will go. Remaining is what? 3d1. The Mn plus 6 electronic configuration will be what? 3d1. Means it has got one unpaired electron in the d orbitals, means it is paramagnetic. Not only that, if you look at it, right, it is having one electron in the d. Others are all what? Other d are vacant. Means there is going to be an opportunity for the d to d transition. This lone electron can make d to d transition. So what is the correct answer for this is option D, which is the manganate ion, MnO4 2-. Next we have another matching type of question. Here it is about matching of the spin only magnetic moment. What is the formula for spin only magnetic moment? Root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magneton. What is n? N is the number of unpaired electrons. Match the metal ions in the column 1 with the spin magnetic moment in the column 2. Means we are having column 1 metal ions. Column 2 is what? Spin only magnetic moment. So what we will do is, first we will write down the electronic arrangement of the respective atoms. Then we will know what is the electronic arrangement of the ions. So chromium, just now only we seen that 3d5 4s1 means chromium 3+, right? After removing 3 electrons means it will be what? 3d3, because first we will remove electrons from 4s, then remaining electrons will be removed from 3d. So chromium 3+ means what? 3d3. Then we have iron. Iron is what? 3d6 4s2. I am going by the order. What is the order? If you look at the order, right, what will be the order? The order is what? Chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel. Okay, so iron is what? 3d6 4s2. Here we have Fe3+, means we have to remove 3 electrons. 2 will be removed from here, 1 will be removed from here, means 3d5, that is Fe3+. Then we have cobalt. Cobalt will be what? 3d7 4s2. Cobalt 3+. Cobalt 3+ means what? It is 3d6. Then we have nickel. Nickel is what? 3d8 4s2. Nickel 2+ means what? The 2 electrons from the 4s are removed, means it is what? 3d8. Now the question is, in each of the configurations, right, we have to find out what is the spin magnetic moment value. Spin magnetic moment value we can find out by looking at the number of unpaired electrons. So we will start with A. A is what? Cobalt 3 plus, right? Where is cobalt 3 plus? This is it. 3d6. 3d6 means what? If we are filling electrons into the d orbitals, first we will fill electrons with parallel spin, then start pairing them. 6 means we can see the unpaired electrons are what? 4. So magnetic moment is what? Root of 4 into 4 plus 2, 6. Root 24. So where is root 24? So A must be matched to 4. So we can see A is matching to 4 in option A and option C. So B will strike it off, D will strike it off. Okay. Then option B. B is what? Chromium 3 plus. Chromium 3 plus, where is it? 3d3. So when you look at the arrangement, right? I mean, we are not even having 5 electrons here, so there is no concept of pairing. All 3 will be what? Unpaired. So what is the formula? Root of 3 into 3 plus 2 is what? 5. Means root 15. Where is root 15? So B should be matched to 5. D is matched to 5 here. But in this case, B is not matched to 5. B is matched to 1. So this is also incorrect. So we are able to arrive at the answer. That is what I was talking about. In the previous matching question also I said, if you are able to at least match 2 of the options, right, you will be able to most likely you will be able to arrive at what is the correct answer. So we got the answer. What is the correct answer for this? Option A is the correct matching. But still we can do the others also. Fe3 plus is the next one. Fe3 plus, what is the arrangement? 3d5. 3d5 means we can check all the 5, because what is the procedure? We have to fill 1 electron with parallel spin, right? All 5 is what? Unpaired. Means what is the magnetic moment formula? Root of 5 into 5 plus 2, 7, root 35. So where is it? B should be matched to C. C should be matched to what? 2. We can check C is matched to 2. And last comes nickel 2 plus. Nickel 2 plus 3d8. 3d8 means if you are filling up electrons, right? 3d8. First we will fill 1 electron each, parallel spin, 5 are over. Then we still have 3 more. Means the remaining number of unpaired electrons is just 2. So root of 2 into 2 plus 2, which is what? 4. Root of 2 into 4. What is root of 2 into 4? Root 8. So the nickel 2 plus, what is the value? Root 8. So nickel 2 plus D must be matched to what? It must be matched to 1. So the correct answer for this is option A. So like this, in matching questions, right, we may have some leverage of arriving at the correct answer even if we are not clear in terms of all the matching. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. This is another reaction based question on KMnO4. I already mentioned it that in past years many a number of times we have questions coming on both the K2Cr2O7 reactions and KMnO4 reactions. These will be straight questions. Name the gas that can readily decolorize acidified KMnO4 solution. So means as a result of the reaction, right, there must be a colorless substance that is formed. So if you look at the reaction between SO2 and the pink to violet color acidified KMnO4 solution, right, the pink violet color of acidified KMnO4 will be decolorized because of the formation of a colorless substance, manganese sulfate. So the manganese sulfate is a colorless substance because of the formation of this, right? We will see that the solution is going to get what? Decolorized. So the gas that is able to achieve this is what? SO2. So the correct answer is option A. So like this we can have straight reaction based questions on both the K2Cr2O7 reactions as well as KMnO4 reactions. So we have to pay a little bit more attention to them. Next we have a question that has come in the NEET 2017 paper. HgCl2 and I2 both when dissolved in water containing I- ions, the pair of species formed is, so when the HgCl2, here mercury is in what state? +2 oxidation state, is dissolved in a solution containing I- ions. Similarly, the I2 is also dissolved in the solution containing I- ions. They are asking what is the combination of species formed. So if you look at HgCl2, when it is dissolved in a solution containing I minus ions, it will form tetraiodide mercurate ion, Hgi4 minus. And similarly, the I2 will combine with the I minus ions to form I3 minus. So the species that we will be able to observe is Hgi4 minus and I3 minus ions. So these are the species that we will be able to find in the respective solution. Next we have a question based on the properties of the actinoids. So it is possible that we can expect questions on the properties of lanthanoids and actinoids. Sometimes they may give questions on the anomalies. Sometimes they may give questions like, which of them is correct, which of them is incorrect. So look at this question. This is a reasoning question. The reason for greater range of oxidation states in actinoids is attributed because of actinoids are what? 5F series. Lanthanoids are 4F series. Actinoids are 5F series. Now actinoids, we know that they will show a variable range of the oxidation states. They will show a higher number of oxidation states than the lanthanoids. If you look at the actinoids general electronic arrangement, right? This is what? Writing the electronic arrangement based upon the nearest noble gas configuration. So what is the general electronic arrangement formula for the actinoids? Radon 5F1214 6D021 7S2. Here the 5F level 6D and 7S, they will be comparable in terms of the energy. These levels will be what? Comparable in terms of the energy. So which means it is easy for the electrons to get exchanged between these levels. And that is the reason why the actinoids, right, they will be able to show variable oxidation states. If you look at the lanthanoids, right, in case of lanthanoids, this would not be possible. So what is the general arrangement of lanthanoids? Xenon 4F1214 5D021 and 6S2. This is the general arrangement of the lanthanoids. Here the 4F, 5D and 6S, right, they will not have comparable energies. They will have quite distinct energy levels. Because of which, right, the lanthanoids will not be able to show a wide range or a greater range of oxidation states. That is possible only in the case of actinoids. So what is the answer for this? It is option B, which is 5F, 6D, 7S levels, right? They have comparable energy values. So look at other options. Option A is saying what? This is because of actinoid contraction. This has got nothing to do with the actinoid contraction. Option C is saying what? The 4F and 5D levels being close in energies. So 4F and 5D, they are not close in energy, because 4F and 5D is in fact not about the actinoids. It is concerning with what? Lanthanoids. Option D is saying what? The radioactive nature of actinoids. That is also incorrect, because here we are not talking about the radioactive nature of these substances. Next we have another reasoning question. This is based on the lanthanoids. This has come in the year 2016 NEET paper 2. Which one of the following statements related to the lanthanoids is incorrect? So we have to conclude which of them is incorrect or wrong. So this is like 4 questions put into one. So what is the first one? First option A is saying europium shows +2 oxidation state. So europium, if you look at the compounds of europium, right, yes, the +3 oxidation state of europium is stable. That's why we'll have what? Europium 3 bromide, europium 3 chloride, fluoride, nitrate, etc. But europium can also show +2 oxidation state. There is europium 2 sulfide, europium 2 fluoride, europium 2 bromide, etc. So europium can show +2 oxidation state. So lanthanoids, we agree that the stable oxidation state of lanthanoids is what? +3. But europium can also show +2. So that is not a wrong statement. That is correct only. What is option B? The basicity decreases as the ionic radius decreases from Pr2Lu. What is this Pr and Lu? These are the respective symbols of these elements. So starting from cerium, right? Then we have praseodymium, then all the way up to lutetium. So what are we saying? In the lanthanoids we have contraction. The size of the atoms as well as the size of the ions will decrease. So as the size is decreasing, right, what we'll observe is, because basic characteristic means what? When the metal cations are large in size, they will be more basic in nature. That is general trend in terms of the basic property. Like even in the case of the alkali metals, as you go down the group, what happens? The size of the metal ions will increase and hence they will become more basic. So here, since the ionic size is decreasing, right, the basicity also will be decreasing, which is correct. The trend that we are talking about and the explanation is correct. Option C is saying what? All the lanthanoids are much more reactive than aluminium. So this is an incorrect one. Why? Because only the first few lanthanoids, right, they will be highly reactive. In fact, they will be as much reactive as the alkaline earth metals like calcium. But with the lanthanoid contraction, as the size is decreasing, right, the reactivity of the metals is also going to decrease, because large size metals will be what? More reactive, because metal nature means about losing of electrons. So as the size is decreasing because of lanthanoid contraction, right, what we see is, as we go to the higher atomic numbers, right, the reactivity will decrease almost to the level of aluminium. So if we say that all the lanthanoids are much more reactive than aluminium, means this is incorrect. So option C is what? Incorrect one. And that's what we are looking for, right? We are looking for which of them is wrong. Then what is option D is saying? We got our answer, but look at option D. What is option D saying? Cerium +4 solutions are widely used as the oxidizing agent in volumetric analysis. So what is this volumetric analysis? When you talk about the estimation of the substance based on the amount of the oxidizing agent consumed or based on the amount of the reducing agent consumed, right? That is what we will be looking in terms of the volumetric analysis. Cerium, more than the +4 state, right, a +3 state will be relatively high stable. So as a result of it, what happens is the cerium will be able to easily undergo reduction from +4 to +3. It is able to easily undergo reduction means what? It is able to act as an oxidizing agent, and that is what is the reason why cerium +4 solutions are widely used as the oxidizing agent in the volumetric analysis. So the only option that is incorrect is what? Option C. Next we have a question that has come in the NEET 2019 paper. The manganate, what is manganate means? Already we talked about it. What is manganate? MnO4 2-, that is the manganate ion. And permanganate, what is permanganate? MnO4-. The manganate and permanganate ions are tetrahedral due to, means they are themselves saying that both are what? Tetrahedral in terms of the shape. They are asking what is the reason for that. If you look at these options, right, what is option A saying? Pi bonding involving overlap of d orbitals of oxygen and d orbitals of manganese. Option B is saying what? Pi bonding involving overlapping of p orbitals of oxygen and d orbitals of manganese. Option C is saying what? There is no pi bonding. Option D is saying what? Pi bonding involving overlap of p orbitals of oxygen and p orbital of manganese. So here we are essentially talking about what is the role that the pi bond will play in deciding the shape of these two ions, both manganate ion as well as permanganate ion, and we have to choose which kind of pi bonding is actually existing, if at all. So option C is saying that there is no pi bonding. If you look at the structures of both these, both the manganate ion, this is what? The manganate ion. Okay, this is the manganate ion, which is MnO4 2-, and this is what? Permanganate ion, MnO4-. Okay, now the MnO4 2-, what do we see? The central manganese is forming two pi bonds with two oxygens, and the other two oxygens, rather other two O-, right, it is only forming a single bond. So which means what? If we look at the shape or geometry as per the VSCPR theory, right, when we calculate the number of valence shell electron pairs, when we calculate the number of valence electron pairs, we only consider the electron pairs of the sigma bonds, because the electrons pair of the pi bond, right, they will be aligned in the same direction as that of the element to which already the central atom is bonded. So here the two electron pairs, right, we will not count them as two pairs, but we only take into account one pair. We will not count the pi electrons. So if you look at the number of valence electron pairs of the manganese, right, what is it going to be? 1, 2. Here we will not count them as two valence electron pairs, we only count it as 1. Here also 1. So totally what is it? 4 will come, because we are not going to count the pi electron pairs, since the pi bond is already going to be formed in the same direction as there is an existing sigma bond between the two atoms. So means what? 4. What will be the arrangement? It will be what? Tetrahedral. 4 means what? It will be tetrahedral. Similarly, if you go to MnO4 minus, this also is going to be having what? Tetrahedral geometry, where the manganese is forming 3 pi bonds here. But again, we are going to assign only one pair. We only consider the sigma bond pairs. So we only consider sigma bond pair means 4 valence electron pairs. Hence the arrangement is what? Tetrahedral. So in both the case, the arrangement is what? Tetrahedral. So what is the kind of pi bond that is there? Yes. So when we say there is no pi bond, it means that is incorrect. There are pi bonds. What are these pi bonds? See, for the oxygen, it is the p orbitals. Pi bonds are formed by what? They are formed by pure or unhybridized orbitals. So for the oxygen, what is the orbitals where there are electrons? It is the p orbitals. So p orbitals of oxygen will overlap with the d orbitals of the manganese, because for the manganese the electrons are present in where? D orbitals. The electrons participating in the bonding are present in the d orbitals. So the pi bonding is involving what? The p orbitals of the oxygen and the d orbitals of the manganese. So the correct answer is what? Option B. Next we have a straight question based on the K2Cr2O7 reaction. It has come in the NEET paper 1 of 2016. Which one of the following statements is correct? When SO2 is passed through acidified K2Cr2O7 solution. So when we pass SO2 through acidified K2Cr2O7 solution, we will be forming the green color complex of chromium sulfate. So Cr2SO4 thrice, which will be a green color compound. This will be formed when the acidified K2Cr2O7, we pass the sulfur dioxide gas through it. So the correct answer for this is what? Option B, which is green Cr2SO4 thrice. Chromium sulfate is being formed. So these are the kind of questions I was talking about in terms of being pretty straightforward questions on the reactions of KMnO4 and then K2Cr2O7. So just make sure that while we are practicing, we practice all the reactions of these two compounds thoroughly. So this is about the part 1 video, and we will see in the part 2.